today's going to be a little bit different again. I get a request from the people of Dehancer, which is a post color grading plugin for Final Cut Pro and Premiere and Blackmagic and all kinds of things, as well as Photoshop and Lightroom. And it's an amazing looking product. They're not paying me. I'm getting the software to review it. They asked me to be rough on them, tell them what I don't like so they can make improvements. So we'll see. It's, from what I know from it, it's an amazing looking package. It really is probably the best package out there to make digital looking footage, log or non-log, look organic and natural and very film-like, cinematic, whatever you want to call it. So a lot of the stuff that I've been doing lately, obviously, has been reviewing these lenses, these older lenses, and pointing out blooming inhalation and all this stuff, all these little quirks that the old image capture devices have. Yeah, now I'm gonna put this stuff on clean digital footage in post. So we'll see how it turns out. Okay guys, so I figured it would make sense to just import what I just shot. This is the intro to kind of show you guys what I would usually do, which in this case would be, I would just go to Camera LUTs, choose the Osmo Pocket, which gives me a very good baseline, and then I'm just going to go into probably color corrections here, and maybe take the saturation down a little bit, bump the contrast up a little bit. Let's see a curve here. There we go. Something like that. So obviously, so I have the color adjustments here. And this is just the color adjustments in Final Cut. So that kind of gives me a little baseline for what I want a simple look to be, which again for the DJ Osmo, which I shot this with, would be just to apply the basic LUT and then just do some other adjustments. So obviously I don't need this to look cinematic. I don't actually want this to look cinematic. So let me get out of this real quick and turn this LUT off. None, and just add Dehancer to this, which will give me a right away Dehancer Pro. So I'm going to go to Source, I'm going to go choose Camera, and this is the first annoyance that I have with this program, because I go to DJI here and none of what I have is actually in here. So I can go to the I believe the Mavic Air probably has a similar, the Mavic 3 or Mavic Air, I believe, have similar sensors, D-Log. Okay. All right, and I'm going to go to a different film stock, maybe go to Agfa Color. Push, pull, but you can see it's definitely giving me, I would probably go to slightly different. There we go. But it's obviously a much stronger look than what I'm looking at. I'm getting there. So you can see what I'm doing here. I'm starting to adjust all the sliders See, I'm not going to do grain. I'm not going to do halation for this. Let me play this back. So because this existing project that I had in here, getting ready for you guys, is 1080, I just dropped that in there, so that's 1080 as well. It actually plays back pretty smooth. So let's go to some clips that I've recorded a while ago. These were on Sony. And this is with the LUTs applied already. Let me turn the dehancer off here. This is and I just went in here and added dehancer. Now I chose the camera, Sony Agvacolor. I do like the pole because it just takes down the contrast a little bit, gives me, this is obviously, you know, in strong California light, so we have strong highlights. It just tones down the highlights a little bit. As you can see, it gives them a little bit of thing, which this is one of the things that just basic adjustments in Final Cut won't do. I think I have grain off right here. Obviously adding grain would help that as well because it just adds texture right there to everything. And this is very strong grain, to 16 millimeters. So I'm going to go to 35 millimeter, which is lighter grain. Even like that's a 65 millimeter. That's pretty nice grain. All these features that Dehancer offers, the bloom, I'm just going to enable this real quick. You can't really see it in this shot. Let me go back here. Yeah, you can tell the highlights right there. Boom. So it's a really subtle effect. It works really well. I mean, it's extremely well done. Let's see how this renders, how fast this renders. Yeah, this gets a little choppy. This is on a Mac M1, so it gets choppy. Let's go to the next clip again. I already applied this. This is Kodak Gold 2 pole. And there are so many settings here. I mean, it's absolutely fantastic. And a lot of this stuff really helps you fine-tune your look to something that you would not be able to do this in just the Final Cut Pro color board or with the color inspector. It just wouldn't work. It's also a little bit of a rabbit hole once you get into, okay, which film do I really like? Do I like this? Well, this is black and white, beautiful black and white right there. Boom. Let's see, black and white with grain. It just looks fantastic. And it's so simple. Just click it on, click it off. Let's assume this was shot with a slightly older lens. And obviously I can add contrast here. It's just really fast and simple. Let's see how quickly this renders. I'm pretty sure this would, yes, this gets choppy. I have all the effects turned on here. But this is something that obviously I would put on there and let it render. It's another thing, another just the blues colors. This is something where you can really play with the films. What do you like better? You know, which one gives you the right look or tone that you want. There's some really funny ones, or funky ones, old Russian ones. And again, the push-pull is, in my opinion, the best contrast control, grain on and off. Here's another clip that I loaded up. This is the log file. This was actually shot with an old, with a vintage Russian lens. So this is already softer and has a little bit of a glow to it. And this is already rendered, that's why it's faster. If I would switch this film to, let's say, something like this, it has to re-render now, and that's when things slow down. But you do get the preview of whatever film you want to shoot with right away. So this would be black and white acros. Let's put some grain on there. So you can see it's just, it's absolutely beautiful. Do I have film damage turned on? That's why I get artifacts in here and just a little, I have film damage turned on here. Okay, this is another clip. Let's see this. This was shot with the FX6 Sony. Let's fast forward here. Let's show you this without, this is the log file. Sorry, I keep saying log file, obviously. And yeah, this is Dehancer turned on. So you can see it just gives a great look really fast. I think it would be almost impossible to get any of this quickly. Like I said, I do like the, I generally do like the Final Cut Color Inspector. It's a good basic thing. I think it works well for if you have clean footage, like I said in my intro. But if you want something, because this, I think this looks good, other than obviously myself being in it. But for something, let me turn this off. But I don't necessarily need a strong look. Like, I think this is a pretty strong look on this. Although it does look good. Maybe I should keep this. So I'm gonna keep this. I'm gonna keep this for my intro. So, but to do this kind of thing, just in the color slider, it would be impossible. I mean, for me at least. It's just fantastic, and the grain really adds to the feel and look of this. And my favorite slider on all this is probably the push-pull slider, because it really helps me just bring back the highlights. It does change the color, which is what push and pull does, which is also why I don't really touch these sliders up here. They're really temperamental. I guess I did touch them a little bit. See, I just go to -68 and it just goes black. So oof. It's really, it's very temperamental. Same for the color temperature, because really once I get into these films, they all have their own slight color temperature. I try to shoot everything the way I want it to look anyway in camera. So this is just a little bit of a, you know, a little bit of a look. So exposure, I would probably adjust this here. Oh, it's off, so let me turn this on. There's a nice exposure slider. I can control the contrast here, and again, this would be different for every film. So in my opinion, I choose the film first, and then I go and play with this. So again, halation, don't really need that. This is something that is a little much for me. Film breadth, that's something I don't really know what it does. I guess I would have to see that rendered. Okay, so I just played with this with the Dehancer Pro version 2 software. It's pretty amazing. It's really versatile. I wish it was a little bit faster for rendering. Maybe that's part of the problem is probably my machine. It's not the fastest machine, but I really haven't had any issues in Final Cut Pro really doing anything. So that's probably, it does a lot of stuff. I mean, it puts a lot of effects in. You can just check the boxes on and off, grain, blooming, halation, you know. I don't think there's any tool right now that does anything like that. Definitely not any better. So I would definitely highly recommend it, especially if you're looking for something that is gives you the look that you want and make your footage look a little more, I guess, organic and filmic, if that's what you're looking for. But it's pretty, I think it's pretty steep in terms of price. So they have a light version that doesn't have everything. I could probably do without the bloom and halation. The grain is something that's nice to have, especially if you can just tone it down a little bit just to get the highlights back a little bit. It's a nice touch. I don't really like grain when it's in your face, but just a little bit nice gives it a nice touch. It does bug me a little bit that they don't have, like I said, DJI Osmo Pocket 3. They don't have the log profile in there. They don't have my DJI drone in there. And they don't have my Fuji GFX in there either, actually, now that I'm thinking of it. So the cameras that I have are not really officially supported. There is no problem to work around that with using existing logs or just maybe, yeah, I'm sure that's not really an issue, but it would be better to just offer these, to just support these cameras right out of the bat, and that's something that I would bring up to them. Obviously, if they watch this review, then they will hear that and hopefully work on that. Other than that, software is fantastic. Yes, definitely recommend it.